Hey guys, just wanted to jump on here and talk a little bit about open mics. I know a lot of friends, musician friends in my network that go to open mics on a regular basis. Just figured I would kind of give my 2 cents, some things that I think work for musicians, some things that they should probably avoid. Also, as a host of an open mic myself, wanted to kind of go through how I feel like an open mic should be kind of run or managed. Hopefully you'll get some useful tips out of this, whether you've been to open mics on a regular basis or just have never been to an open mic and maybe you're just thinking about it. Hopefully I can kind of clear up some confusion around it and what it might entail. If you have any tips or tricks or advice that I may have missed, feel free to leave them in the comments. I would appreciate it. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you turn on those notifications, you'll know when I upload a new video. So very much appreciate the support. Thank you. So for those of you that don't know, an open mic is really an event that's usually hosted by, one or more people. It could be at a any kind of venue. Most of them are probably at bars or pubs. And then, sometimes wineries, coffee shops, breweries have them. You might find some random open mic in some random venue somewhere. They could include musicians. They could include stand-up comedians, poets, all that. There's all kinds of different types of open mics. It usually consists of a host who kind of manages things. They usually put out the list of performers. You get there, you put your name on the list, and then when it's your turn, you go up and you do however many songs. And you go up, you perform 1, 2, 3 songs, however many the host says you're allowed to do. Most open mics usually end once the list is over. The host may do a few songs in the beginning and then may do a few songs at the end. My particular open mic that I host every other Sunday at Little East Tavern in Franklinville, New Jersey, if you're in the South Jersey area. Once we get through the list, we have what I call kind of an open jam. It's really an opportunity for folks who have never played together, maybe even never met each other before, to just kind of get up there and collaborate and hey, do you know this song? Yeah, I know that song. Well, let's do that together. Or somebody who wants to just kind of sing backup vocals, they can jump in on somebody's set or whatever. But that's after we get through the list. I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to perform and kind of showcase what they want to do. As far as, what to do at an open mic, I've got a few kind of do's and don'ts for musicians and for hosts as well. These are just my opinions, so take them with a grain of salt, but this is kind of what I've observed over the years of doing open mics. As far as hosts go, I think that a host should, first and foremost, the host needs to make everybody feel welcome. Make sure that, someone who's never been to an open mic before might be very nervous and all that stuff. It's really the host's job to kind of welcome them and let them know that it's a safe place to perform. They don't have to worry about being heckled or laughed at or anything like that. It's a very kind of supportive group. And then also, it's also their job to manage the list and make sure that the open mic goes well, not just for everybody who might be performing, but for those who are in attendance just watching, and then also for the venue, either the bar or the brewery, winery, whatever, because the host is basically representing the venue, right? As far as musicians go, there are going to be some rules at an open mic, right? The host may say that everybody gets 2 songs or 3 songs or, occasionally 4 songs if there's not many people on the list. Also, musicians don't play more songs than you're allotted, right? If the host tells you that you've got 2 songs, play 2 songs, right? Maybe if there's a chance after you get it through the list, maybe there's a chance you can go back up. But the host has a plan in mind as far as trying to make sure that everybody gets a chance to play in a timely manner, right? So don't do, I've seen some musicians, just roll into a next song real quick, right when they finish their last song of the set. They might roll into another one real quick because maybe the host isn't paying attention and they can get away with it. trust me, the host is 99% of the time, the host is paying attention, right? So when they hear the music stop, they know that, oh, that's my cue. I got to get up there and make sure that the next person's, ready to go and all that stuff. So don't do that. Let's see. Also, if you've never been to an open mic, or if you've never been to a particular open mic, you don't really know how it works, don't be afraid to reach out to the host ahead of time, like on Facebook or wherever you've seen the open mic listed. And ask them, questions like, do I need to bring anything? Can I bring anything? Some people like to bring their own microphones in this, this day and age, right? But totally fine. Just, reach out to the host and make sure it's okay or whatever. I've been to a few open mics where, I've mentioned before, I have 2 little kids. I used to go to an open mic in Clementon, New Jersey called, it was at Harper's. Shout out to Max for hosting that one. It was a great open mic. I emailed him one time ahead of time to say that, I wanted to bring my kids, and they're young, and Harper's is basically a bar, so I wanted to make sure, number one, that it was okay, and then number 2, like, hey, since I've got my kids with me, is it okay if we go first? Can you put my name on the list first? And as long as you don't make it like a regular thing, like, don't email the host every week and say, hey, can I go first, right? So usually as long as it's not like an everyday occurrence where you're constantly asking for exceptions or privileges or whatever, then the host should mostly be accommodating. The next one I'm going to say for musicians, and I think for most of you guys watching, this goes without saying, but don't get wasted, right? There's no reason to get completely hammered before your set, or even after your set for that matter, but especially before your set. You get up there, you're wasted, you can barely remember the chords, you barely remember your name, let alone the lyrics of the song that you want to sing. I've been to more than one open mic where, somebody gets up there and you can tell right away that they're just hammered. And it really just kind of sucks the energy out of the room. It makes it awkward for the host and everybody watching and any employees of the venue, like bartenders and stuff. It makes it awkward for everybody. If you're anything like me and you're kind of treating music as a profession, whether it's full-time or part-time, think about it, right? You'd never really get wasted at your day job if you have a day job, right? 9 to 5. You wouldn't go into work drunk and expect to be allowed to go back to work there the next day, right? So treat it as if you would a regular job. There are consequences to our actions. Keep that in mind. You with the way the open mics work, you may want to get there early if you are on limited time, right? Like if the open mic starts at, let's say, 6, maybe get there at 5:30, 5:45, so you can get your name on the list as soon as it comes out. Some of these open mics are super popular and could have 20 people on the list. Others are, may only get 10 people on the list, so you may not have to get there that early. But if it's one of these big popular open mics, shout out to Red, White, and Brew, and Jeremy for hosting an incredible open mic there. They get lots of folks out there. So I would, if you're ever going to that one in Audubon, South Jersey, get there early, right? Get there early, have a beer, get your name on the list as soon as you can. Anyway, I have one thing to kind of say that is a little bit ironic because I'm guilty of this. I would suggest that hosts start on time, right? Just respect the time of the folks that are going there to perform, right? There could be some people that have obligations at home, like kids or work or whatever, and maybe they want to sneak out to this open mic super quick and play a couple songs and then get back to whatever their responsibilities are. So I think the hosts should do their best to start on time. If it starts at 5, then the host should be up there, set up, ready, and maybe playing a song or two at 5 o'clock. Unfortunately, I am guilty of being a little bit late. My open mic that I host is at 5. Sometimes I'm not finished setting up until about 10 after, and then I start playing at about 5:15. But if that's the case, I usually only play like maybe 1 or 2 songs and give everybody else 3 songs or however many we're doing. It's 3. So I'm guilty of it, but I will try to do a better job. Another thing I wanted to bring up, I think, is, if you're a seasoned musician, someone who might play out a lot, right? Someone who does paid gigs, someone who does private events, all that stuff. I would recommend you still go to open mics, right? I don't think anybody's too good for an open mic. I think open mics are a great opportunity to expand your network of musicians and venues and even, people who are just there watching, right, and enjoying the music. It's a great opportunity to get exposure, possibly book a private gig if somebody really likes you and they want you to play at their place, or maybe the venue that's hosting the open mic, maybe they say, hey, you're awesome, why don't you play here and we'll set you up with a paying gig, whatever. That's happened to me at least twice in the last 2 years. So I would highly recommend that seasoned professional musicians still go to open mics, right? It also gives you an opportunity to impart some wisdom on some less experienced musicians, right? Folks that are maybe just getting started, folks that are having trouble with, being super nervous up on stage and all that stuff, right? It's a way for you to be like, hey, it's, you are in a safe place, a safe environment. Nobody's going to throw anything at you. Nobody's going to talk shit or laugh at you. We're all here to support you and help you on your musical journey, whatever that is. So I use open mics if I want to add a new song to my set list and I haven't played it at a paying gig yet, I'll go to an open mic and work it out there, right? It's one thing to play it in your, living room or bedroom or play it at home. It's another thing to play it in front of people, right? So even though I've got plenty of experience playing in front of people, usually when I play something new, there's always some kind of nerves involved, right? So it's definitely something that you want to work out in front of a friendly, supportive group before you kind of take it to your main, paying gig, right? That's just my recommendation. Like comedians do that sort of thing all the time, like Dave Chappelle, Mark Maron. I hear stories about them going to the Comedy Store in LA to work out, new material. And for those of you that don't know, the Comedy Store is just like a small little place. I think it holds a few, 200, 300, 400 people. So imagine just sitting in this little tiny comedy club and then all of a sudden Dave Chappelle walks in, gets up on stage for 15, 20 minutes to work out new material. I mean, that would be amazing, right? So if it's good enough for someone like Dave Chappelle, it's certainly good enough for us semi-professional musicians. And since we're talking about comedians, there are, at least in the South Jersey scene, there are some open mics that is it's a mix of stand-up comedians and musicians, and I certainly don't have anything against stand-up comedians. I have one at my open mic that comes on a semi-regular basis. It's great to have them. It offers a little bit of kind of diversity, a little bit of a change of the vibe, which is totally fine. The only thing I would ask, not that it's been a problem before, but since we're just talking about tips and tricks and advice and all that stuff, if you're a stand-up comedian going to a open mic that is primarily music, right, I would just ask that you kind of respect the time that's allotted, right? So like if, let's say every musician's getting three songs, each song maybe 3 to 4 minutes, you're looking at like maybe 10, 12 minutes worth of material that that you can get up there for maybe 10, 12 minutes. At least as a host, that's how I equate it, right? If I'm giving everybody 3 songs and a stand-up comedian comes and says, well, how long do I get? I usually say, 10 to 12 minutes, and I'll actually set a timer on my phone. Not that I'm super strict, but I don't want to lose track, right? And I think the last thing you want to do is get up there too long, working out all kinds of material that may not be hitting, and you're up there for like 20, 25 minutes, and it just kind of kills the vibe of the whole night. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm blaming stand-up comedians for anything. I'm fully supportive of stand-up comedians coming to my open mic. It's totally fine. I just ask that we respect kind of the time and everybody else's time, and then also if I get a handful of stand-up comedians in the future, I might shuffle the list a little bit to try to mix it up, right? Musician, comedian, something like that to just kind of keep the flow going. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. If you disagree, feel free. Let me know. Let me hear it in the comments. I'm open-minded. I'm open to advice, tips, whatever, criticism. Sure, let me know. And that goes for anything else, right? If there's any other tips or tricks or anything that you think I missed, something that's benefited you at an open mic. Whether you're a seasoned musician who plays paying gigs or if you are just starting out playing in front of people, still trying to figure out how to learn how to play and sing at the same time, stuff like that, whatever. Let me know. Post in the comment. Let me know what helps you guys. Let me know what works. Let me know what doesn't work, because I'm always looking to try to improve myself. And since I am a host of an open mic, I want to make my open mic the best it can possibly be, so everybody enjoys themselves and has a great time. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification. Hit that bell for notifications so you can see when I post a new video. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.